Hey everybody, welcome back to James Draws Everything. You know what we do. Drawing every country in the world's flag, and we're getting there. Man, we are getting there. Going back into Africa today, doing the small country of Burundi. Right, so this country has a lot in common with Rwanda, so go check out that episode for some of that history. And I get to use my cool little circle tool for this one, so yay me. And then you're also probably asking, James, what do you got planned for the future of this channel, right? Going into the new year, you're going to be done with this project. And I got some ideas, right? I think I got a pretty good idea. And I'm not going to spoil it, though, right? So you don't want to know what goes on behind closed doors here at James Draws Everything. Right? We play it close to the vest. So, yeah, you'll just have to wait and see. Alright, so I want to see where I misjudged that a little bit. Yeah, so as you know, we do stay busy here. Me and my staff of research assistants, anytime I get something right on this channel, that's me. And if I get something wrong, that's my research assistants. So as you know, I'm constantly firing them and giving me wrong information. And I got to hear it from you guys. And I think this week, what is time? Yeah, I think I might wait until Christmas Eve to let them know the news. At 4:30, of course. So this is not a democracy. James Draws Everything. All right, back to what country was I doing again? Oh yeah, Burundi. All right, James. So what can you tell us about the nation of Burundi? Well, again, a lot in common with the nation of Rwanda. So you got some of the same power dynamics between like the Hutus and the Tutsis. Right, and that's basically not really like a racial thing. It's more like a class divide, right? So the Tutsis have always been like the minority, but they share common culture and language. Mostly lived in peace until kind of recent times. So the Burundi Kingdom, established in the 17th century, and then in like the colonial days, this becomes part of German Africa, right? So late 19th and early 20th century. And then when the Germans have to give up all of their territorial possessions as a result of World War I, they give up this place and it goes to the Belgians. But German or Belgian, they always favored the Tutsis, right? So the Tutsis were kind of like they were given like administrative roles, and just again, because it's not really, they're basically kind of the same people. It's just more of a class system, right? So think like kind of like India. So that created a lot of resentment, and the colonial stuff just kind of further alienated the Hutus. And then we're getting, kind of into modernity here, into the 20th century, modern times. Most of the Hutus are kind of eliminated from positions of power. And then in 1961, one of the Tutsi king's oldest sons, he was actually murdered by a rival faction just before he was going to become the prime minister. Right, so they gained independence in 1962 from Belgium. And we're already off to a very rough start here, right? Because you just have way too much animosity in these politics, right? So whether it's going to be Hutus or Tutsis, somebody's going to be not happy, right? Whoever the losing end is. But it's kind of how it always works, right? With when you have a two-party system, right? I mean, look at the United States of America. Beware of factions, right? One of the famous Federalist essays. But enough about Federalists in the U.S. The Hutus led a coup against Tutsi rule in 1965, so still very, very young in this country's history. And they were also affected by neighboring Rwanda. So, the Tutsis were kind of fearing losing control of that place too. And it's, basically pretty much like the same conflict, right, in both countries. But I always kind of put these countries together when I think about them, right? They're even kind of like the same size and the same part of the world, right? Rwanda and Burundi, right there, kind of in Central Africa. So there's another purge after a failed Hutu coup, and so the Tutsis pretty much established like complete domination of politics, and then the Hutus, right? They ain't done yet, so they come back in 1972, and they killed several thousand of the Tutsi civilians, and then that, of course, sparks off a reprisal on the other end. So the Tutsis are, still in control of the military, that part of the government, and they killed, roughly anywhere from 100 to 200,000 people, and that's a lot because this is not a big country. And this kind of plays out a lot, like all throughout this country's history, right? So you just have this kind of animosity between the classes here, right, in their kind of segmented class structure. So they form a new constitution in 1992, right? So I'm sure there was probably some international community members that encouraged that. But you know what I think about stuff like that too. It's like, it's kind of hard to think of this place as like a country the same way you would, like a European nation state, because this place never was a nation state, right? And it's just those dynamics are just kind of too volatile to allow for like democracy, Where's my brush? Hold on. Sorry, guys. And speaking of genocides and all that bad stuff, this flag kind of reminds me of Christmas. We'll take a little break for the genocide talk for a minute. But yeah, it's a red and green flag. So that's nice. Christmas, I don't know when you're watching this video, but I am recording this on, I don't even know what the hell day is today. December 19th, 2024. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Okay, back to the genocide. How was that for a transition? So, their first democratically elected president, Ndadaye, he's assassinated after only 100 days in office. So that kicks off a civil war, which is pretty much going on in Rwanda at the same time. I'm not really sure why you don't really hear as much about this one. Because it is kind of like the same conflict, but I'm sure somebody can correct me if I'm wrong there, or if my research assistants are wrong. Remember, I'm never wrong, so and then I'll fire them too. But maybe because I know Rwanda had like a lot more like Hollywood productions about like that struggle, right? I know there's a few movies, so maybe that's why people remember that one more. But yeah, this one neighboring Burundi, just as bad, just as bloody. And then in 1994, his successor, I'm going to try to pronounce this, Cyprian Ntaryamira, he died, and this is kind of interesting. He died with the Rwandan president, so their plane was shot down. And then that, further inflamed the Rwandan genocide and further inflamed this country's war. So, international community kind of needs to step in and, get things working here. So they signed an agreement, the Arusha Agreement, in 2000. And they had some ceasefire agreements. That basically kind of ends this the real hot period of the Civil War. So that kind of lasts from like you can say like 1993 to 2005. And then they had another election, Nkurunziza as president, and he was reelected in 2010 and then reelected again in 2015. Kind of due to some shenanigans with their court system, they kind of subverted the Constitution to allow him to rerun. that's just how it works here, right? So new president though comes in from the same party though, and he was elected in 2020. And I think for the most part, like I don't really hear about the struggle here anymore. So I think that is pretty much died down. But you never know, right? And that's why Africa is always kind of interesting to study, right? Because like this war, you know, this is just absolutely catastrophic. The genocide in Rwanda, and then I don't know if you want to call it a genocide, but I'm sure as hell a lot of people that died in, you know, Burundi here as well. But yeah, this is this long predates any kind of colonial, you know, involvement or anything like that. This is just an old school blood feud, right? The Hatfields and the McCoys, the Hutus and the Tutsis. They just can't get along. And how can you not get along with such a nice flag, right? This is probably one of my favorite African flags. Maybe it's just because I'm in the spirit of Christmas. Just love talking about genocide and Christmas. Yeah. It's a cool flag. Yeah, so James, what does the flag of Burundi mean? Well, I can tell you. Give me just a second here while I get my border marker. So the green is hope and optimism. The white, so you got kind of like a white cross going in between it. White stands for purity. The red, come on, with this country's violent history, what do you think the red stands for? The red stands for the blood, right? The red always means the blood, the struggle, the fighting tooth and nail, trying to survive. And then the 3 stars represent the 3 major ethnic groups. So you got Hutus, Tutsis, and then also Tuwas, right? But mainly the Hutus and the Tutsis are kind of who we talk about when talking about this country. And also represents the national motto, right? The 3 elements of that national motto: unity, work, and progress. All right, so you know we're all united here at James Draws Everything until you get fired. We all work hard here, right? Even if we get it wrong, you know, we put in the work. And then we also make a lot of progress, right? So we are just moving right along here, almost done with another page. And yeah, unity, work, and progress. I like that motto. I like this flag. Do you like this flag? Let me know what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next video.